What's up, guys? This is LaZer0MonKey. Welcome back, and you're listening to the Corner Cutter Podcast.
Hi, this is Daniel Goodman.
Dylan Wang from JPerm.
Ian Scheffler.
Shiva Mansur from India.
This is Alex from Z3 Cubing.
What's up, guys? This is Jaden McNeil from Australia, and you're listening to the Corner Cutter Podcast.
Hey, that's right. Welcome to the Corner Cutter Podcast. Podcasting since 2014 and cubing since 2015. I'm your host, Josh. And this is the most consistent speed cubing podcast dedicated to entertain and educate you with in-depth conversations with cubers from all across the sport. My website is thecornercutterpodcast.com, and thank you for joining me today. Today's guest is Phillip Lewicki from the YouTube channel LaZer0MonKey. We talk all about him making the Nationals and Worlds videos, his 3x3 improvement over time, his opinion about feet getting removed, and a whole bunch of other interesting topics. So I hope you stick around. Remember, you can find all the show notes to everything we mentioned in today's episode at thecornercutterpodcast.com. And if you want to email in, my email address is josh@thecornercutterpodcast.com. I would love to hear from you. And now let's jump into today's discussion. Phillip, thanks for joining me today on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
First question, what's something interesting about yourself that most people wouldn't know?
I play chess pretty regularly, probably more than I cube.
Oh, wow. Cool.
Somewhat irresponsible, but yeah.
What's your
I play a lot of
background in chess? How?
I just started a couple of years ago watching the World Championship match in 2016. And I became interested, started watching some videos online, and then I started playing, and I've been playing ever since. And recently I've been kind of irresponsible playing bullet chess, not really improving, but hopefully soon I'll get back on it, start improving again.
Okay, cool. What has been your biggest achievement in your cubing career?
I would say my performance in the last two rounds of 3x3 at Nationals 2018. I qualified with a really good 722 average after not having done very well in the first two rounds. Third round was very good, and then I was happy to get second in the U.S. in the finals with a solid average, at least at the time.
Nice. Okay, yeah. It must be pretty nice getting your PR in semifinals.
Yeah, that was nice.
Mm-hmm. What has your competitions looked like since Nationals 2018?
Well, I've been competing. My times have been getting better. I recently became 7th or 8th in the world in Megaminx, which is pretty cool. Sub 40. Took a state record. Yeah, I've just been improving.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to the summer season in 2019.
So, is Megaminx your favorite event, or do you have something else that you enjoy?
Megaminx is my favorite event. I also really like 3x3, but I find that the possibility for creativity and the length of Megaminx is really nice, because if you make a mistake in a 3x3 solve, it's done. There's no chance that it can be any good, but with
especially at where you're at.
Yeah, and I make so many mistakes in Megaminx solves, but the times can still be great. I'm not quite at the level where I can't make any mistakes, but I think even Juan Pablo and Yu Dehyun make tons of mistakes. It's just such a long event. There's so much time to demonstrate skill. I really like that. And it's very creative.
That's interesting. When did Megaminx become your main and favorite event?
I wouldn't say Megaminx is my main event.
Okay. I guess
think
just favorite event then.
Megaminx along with 3x3 are kind of my main and favorite events. And I think most of my skill in Megaminx comes from my 3x3 skill, and the only reason I've done better officially in relation to everybody else in Megaminx is because there's I'm less affected by nerves on Megaminx, and I have the skill difference is more apparent in a longer event. And also I think I'm very good at the creative F2L, which doesn't really help that much on 3x3. Yeah, I guess I started practicing this past year at the beginning of 2018. So maybe recently.
Actually, what does actually practicing mean? What were you averaging when you...
Oh, so at Worlds 2017, I think I got a 2-minute average. Wait, let me check. Yeah, at Worlds 2017, I got a 140 average. And after that, I decided I should start practicing, which means I did a lot of solves. I learned some better techniques. And then at my next competition, I got a 1-minute flat average. And then after that, I got some sub 1s and then sub 50. And then just recently, I got sub 40.
Nice. That's some very decent improvement.
Lots of practice.
Going back to U.S. Nationals 2018, anything else notable that happened there to you, or any other nice results?
I mean, for my personal results, I guess I did fairly well in Megaminx. I'm not well by my standards, but I guess I made finals. I don't know. Don't have an answer to that.
I would like to talk about your 3x3 improvement over the years. Could you timeline, what were you averaging, and then certain jumps in your times? What and was there any spots where you got stuck or anything like that?
Yeah, so I started speed cubing in the summer of 2012, and by July I had a sub 20 single, but I think I was averaging 30, 25, something like that. And I did a lot of practice, and I finally got a sub 20 average. I remember it took me a really long time to get sub 20. I was hanging around 22, 21 for a very long time. And then I finally figured out some keys to look ahead. And then I quickly went from, so September 21st, I got a 19 average. And then September 30th, I got a 16 average. So there was a really huge jump. And then I was suddenly averaging 15, 16.
That was 2011, correct?
That was 2012.
Okay.
And when I wanted to go to a Rubik's Cube competition after, just starting speed cubing, and the closest one was 6 hours away in Indianapolis. I live in Cleveland. And so my dad told me that I had to get a sub 20 average if he was going to bring me all the way to this competition in Indianapolis. So I worked for a very long time to get that sub 20 average. And then by the time we went to the competition, I think I was averaging 16, 17. And then I guess by my 1 year anniversary of cubing, I was already averaging 12, 13. And I guess it was a pretty consistent improvement from there. I was sub 8 by 2015, sub 10 late 2013. I guess I was sub 10 within a year and a half of cubing. And then since then, it's been a very consistent decrease. I have a graph of my PB averages and singles, and you can see a very large jump in September, August 2012, which is right when I started cubing. And then since then, it's been a very linear decreasing graph. So,
okay. Have you In between that sub 10 and where you are now, was there any other flat periods where you didn't really see any improvement?
Not really.
Okay.
No, I improved pretty consistently. I guess maybe in the past couple years, there have been periods where I've been averaging low 7 and not really improving. But right now I seem to be getting faster because I've been doing more stack mat practice and practicing picking up the cube with a stack mat, inspecting. One of the big problems I had was when I'm inspecting, I was so used to doing it on a keyboard and being able to rotate the cube while I'm holding the space bar and then letting go of the space bar while I'm holding the cube and then start the solve. And so when I got to competitions, I would set down the cube and then completely lose track of what my start was going to be. And so that made my competition times a lot worse and less consistent. So recently I've been doing stack mat practice, and it's been really helpful to practice stack mat. And yesterday I broke my PB average of 12 that I used to have on keyboard. I broke it on stack mat, 634. So I think I've been improving quite a bit just working with the stack mat. It's very important. And I think my competition times have also been improving. I'm getting more consistent.
Oh, good. I think that's a pretty good tip. Use a stack mat to practice for competitions. Of your improvement too, could that be your progress is slowing down a little bit because you're focusing on other events? Have you been? And could that be some of the reasons why it levels out sometimes?
I think I don't improve as much when I don't practice as much. And there have definitely been periods where I've gone several months without seriously practicing. But I never go more than 2 weeks without doing a session. And nowadays I cube almost every day. Of course, I took a break of like a week or something during this winter break, but other than that, I cube pretty consistently.
Yeah, that was one of my other questions. What your actual practice schedule is and how much you actually practice. So when you say I've been practicing recently, what does that exactly mean?
So I just cube whenever I want to. And during breaks, that means several hours a day, usually in the morning, in the evening. I recently started streaming on Twitch, and I'm just like practicing. So if you're interested in that, I guess that would be a good way to see how much I practice. Of course, I practice more than just the streams, but during the school year, I practice during school. Like I bring my cube to school and I just mess around with Megaminx, like F2Ls, just thinking about it constantly. In terms of timed solves, I do that during school days. Sometimes, like my normal schedule is that I'll do like a 2-hour session once a week, or twice a week, or 3 times a week. Usually on the weekend, sometimes on a random Tuesday if I have very little homework. And I generally don't time solves at all, other than those 2 or 3 long time sessions during the week. And during breaks, I practice like 6 hours a day, 5 hours a day. Really depends.
Okay.
And most days I don't cube. I don't practice. But I'm always thinking about it.
Okay. Now, how do you structure what you practice?
Whatever I'm feeling. It's very unstructured.
Okay. So
sometimes I look at my upcoming competition and I see what events are there and I decide if I should practice those. But mainly I practice 3x3 in Megaminx, and if I want to do 5x5 or 4x4 or something, I might do that. But yeah, it's very unstructured.
Okay. Moving on to your YouTube channel, what has been your favorite video, either before or during or after you've created it, and what is your most popular video?
Oh, wow. I think my favorite videos are the big competition videos, like Nationals 2015, Worlds 2017, Nationals 2018. I really enjoy making those videos. My most viewed videos are the finals videos from Nationals and Worlds, which makes sense because people use that as like reference for, it's like the main video of the competition finals. But I really enjoy making the competition highlight videos for the large competitions. It's a huge rush. Like, for example, this Nationals, I hadn't really made YouTube videos for several months before Nationals. And then I get to Nationals, I'm filming nonstop, offloading all this footage every day, constant, like making sure that I'm getting everything. I somehow miraculously got Stanley's 5x5 world record. Like, he just told me he was going to do 5 blind world record. Sorry. He told me he was going to do 5 blind. I was like, oh, I should go film that. And he gets a world record. I did make a schedule, but it was kind of hard to follow the schedule because there were so many things going on at once, but I managed to catch all the world records, which is really good. And I really enjoy the rush of editing. I try and edit immediately, like while I'm still at the competition, so that I'm still in the mood. And so my edit reflects the mood of the competition. I choose my music the day after the competition, like in the evening, whatever I'm feeling. I generally can't pinpoint exactly what I want the video to be like until I've filmed everything for the video and the competition has just ended. And then I edit nonstop. I'm editing in the airport. I'm editing on the plane. I remember after Worlds 2017, I was traveling through Iceland because we got a cheap flight through Iceland Air, and I was trying to edit in the airport, and then my laptop ran out of battery, and we'd left the charger somewhere, so then I had to sleep, and that was terrible. I enjoy the rush of editing nonstop for like a day or two, like 15 hours a day, until the video is done, and that usually happens within 2 or 3 days. I remember after Nationals 2017, we had to get on a plane to Worlds like a day later, and I managed to finish the video and upload it at Worlds just when we got to the apartment we were staying in. So
nice.
Yeah, those big videos are definitely my favorite to make.
I must be different about making videos. Does it like kind of take away from the competition experience? Because I kind of would like to see what everybody else is doing and not like spend the time editing videos. Is that different for you?
Because I need to film everything that happens at the competition, I end up hanging out at every event of the competition. Like, for instance, at Nationals 2016, there were a lot of evening events that I don't think I would have gone to. And because I was filming, I went to them, I hung out. I did random things like film Rami, go outside and like pick up some grass. It was some like joke video he wanted to make. And I also have, my dad helps me out with the filming, which is really nice because I can just tell him if there's something I want to be filmed, but I'm busy doing something else, then he can help me film that. And so I think I just get less sleep. I don't decrease my consumption of the competition experience.
Okay. Yep, that makes sense. Why was your Max versus the Dream Team video so successful?
Because it's Max Park and the 5-6 best cubers in all those events. And I think the name recognition of Max Park is just extremely appealing. And you see Max Park 2 through 7 relay, versus Felix and Kevin Hayes and Sebastian Weyer and Mats Valk, Chris Olsen, Patrick Pons. Like, that's just a big draw. And so I think just the event itself is intriguing. And I think my video did a good job of capturing the event. And also, I created the video very quickly. I uploaded it immediately. And because I was making so many other videos from the competition, they were all recommending each other. And so any views on, like, say, the finals video will, like, automatically generate extra views for those other videos. So I think any video I make at these big competitions is bound to get more views just because it has so many related videos that are pushing traffic to it.
Mm-hmm. Did you think it would be as successful as it was? Or did it just, like, surprise you a little bit?
I expected it to do well. I don't really consider that a super successful video. I have a lot of successful videos, and that's one of them.
Staying on the topic of nationals, do you have any speculations on where Nats 2019 will be?
No. I was hoping, I'm hoping it's in, like, Cleveland, but it's not. So I don't know. I wish they would announce it. I really hope they announce it soon because I need to know where it is so I can plan for this summer.
Yeah. Okay, so Indiana 2016, right? And then
2017.
Oh yeah, okay, my views mixed up. Okay. 2017 Indiana, Utah 2018. Where would it make sense to be?
The East Coast.
South, maybe Georgia, Florida area?
If I had to guess, I would guess Florida, but my guess is that there's a less than 10% chance that it's in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
But that makes sense because it's very cheap to fly to Florida, and it hasn't been there since, like, 2004 or something like that. Mm-hmm. So,
what about some of the other Gulf states? I'm just trying to...
Yeah, I'm sure it could be in Georgia or...
Mm-hmm.
Wherever it is, I'll try and go. And, yeah. I hope it's in the Utah venue is really nice because Salt Lake City is an incredibly nice, clean city.
Mm-hmm.
And it was very bright, everything. It was a really nice experience to have it in Salt Lake City. The air quality is very nice. So I hope it's in a place like that. But wherever it is, I'll probably be there.
Since you went to your first competition in 2012, what have been some of the biggest changes about how the WCA works and how competitions are in general?
I think there are just a lot more cubers. And there's a much larger community online. Like, when I started cubing, there were only a few thousand competitors in the WCA. And so every competition was that, first of all, competitions were hard to come by. They were far apart. They weren't very often. And so I was lucky to have a lot of competitions nearby in Pittsburgh, and also in Michigan. But now I have a competition in Ohio, like, every month. So it's just, I think the frequency of competitions, the number of cubers is much higher.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
The community doesn't really feel any different. Maybe it's a bit younger than it used to be, but that's inevitable.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When you actually go to competitions, and I'm looking for advice for the Corner Cutter podcast audience, how do you make the most of when you actually get to go to a competition and make sure you get the full experience?
So I believe that it's important to be well prepared for a competition. So if you can do competitions simulations and if you can do competition simulations before a competition and be prepared for the pressure of solving in front of people where every solve counts, but not really. I mean, I wouldn't take your competitions too seriously. I don't take mine that seriously. But I think being well prepared makes it easier to enjoy the rest of the competition. Because when I show up to competitions where I haven't practiced at all and I'm nervous about my official times, it's very hard to like talk to people and enjoy hanging out when I'm like trying to hurriedly practice and get better just before the competition. It's much easier to show up, be relaxed, know that I've done my preparation, I'm ready to go, and I can just chill.
What's your personal opinion on the topic of 3x3 with feet getting removed?
I support the decision. I think it's a shame. Like people like Daniel Rose-Levine are insanely good at feet. And so it's kind of unfortunate that we would be removing that. But I think the event as a whole is really, it doesn't fit with the brand of the WCA. I don't believe that it's a valuable event. It's kind of disgusting. It's really difficult for competition organizers because when you hold feet, you basically can't reuse the timers that you use for feet ever again. Maybe you can reuse it for another feet event, but it's kind of annoying for organizers and delegates to have to deal with an entirely separate set of timers and mats just for feet. I've seen at a lot of big competitions, people just like the delegates just end up giving away the mats just because they don't want them anymore. And I think it's disgusting for scramblers. And if you talk to non-cubers, they might find it interesting, but the majority of non-cubers I've talked to, especially adults, find it extremely strange. And I think if cubing is going to become a mainstream sport in some way, having feet is kind of hindering that.
Do you think this will allow the WCA to expand to different events?
No. I think it might be interesting if we had some sort of team events. Like people do team blind. Something like that would be interesting to have in the WCA. Not just individual events, maybe some team events, but I generally don't support adding events. I would rather remove events. Like I'd like to see clock get removed because I don't understand why clock is sure, it's a puzzle. It requires similar skills, but for spectators can't even tell that the clock is solved. Even the person who just solved it has to flip it over to make sure that it's solved. And so I don't think clock should be included. I support removing events more than adding events. I think we have plenty of events. There's no reason to add any more.
Mm-hmm. If you could add one, what would you want?
Some sort of team event. Okay. I think it would be fun to have team events.
Mm-hmm.
Like a team blind.
Besides feet and clock, what else would be next on the list to remove?
I think feet and clock are the obvious ones to remove. I mean, I personally don't like Scube, but I cannot argue that it's a bad event to have in the WCA.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Same, yeah. I think all the events make sense except for clock and feet. I don't understand why those are events. I mean, I understand how they came to be events, but I don't think they should be events.
Mm-hmm. Did you have a cubing podcast at one point?
Yeah, I messed around with a podcast when I was 12 or 13 or something. It wasn't very good. I don't know. I think I did like 2 episodes. I don't remember anything about it. Mm-hmm. I might go for a cubing podcast in the future, but that is not in the current plans.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's still in Apple Podcasts. So, but
is it?
I have not. I wasn't.
Oh, I did also do another brief stint on very short podcast episodes, but I ran out of things to talk about, so I decided I shouldn't continue doing that.
Mm-hmm. Do you just enjoy YouTube more than audio content?
Yeah. I don't think that I can provide much value in audio content at the moment. I've considered different forms of audio content, but for now I'm focusing on YouTube, and I just started Twitch, so I'm going to see where that goes.
Oh yeah, live. That's definitely another avenue.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any cubing stories you would want to share?
I could tell one story, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
And so I was playing on Lichess the other day, which is a chess website. As I said, I play way too much chess. And I was playing some Bullet, and I put out a seek and I got a game. And the guy doesn't play a move. He just comments in the chat, "Wait, are you the cuber?" I'm like, "Yes." And he said, "Hey, it's Eric." So Eric Ackersdyke was on Lichess, and I was playing him in Bullet, which was wild. Of all the people to run into randomly, Eric Ackersdyke.
Whoa.
Pretty cool.
That's nice.
And we played a match. What I found most amusing was that we were the same rating, which was fun because we had a good match. Wasn't easy for either of us.
Who won?
I think he won. Because it was Bullet. I lost on time.
Okay.
3 of the games. I won the first game that I think I was losing the first game and I won, and then the next 3 games I was winning and I lost all of those. That's how it is in Bullet.
How does Bullet chess actually work?
It's just 1 minute chess, 1 minute per side. So
definitely
you run out of time a lot.
Okay, yeah. That's definitely how I would like to play. I'm not good at waiting like that.
Yeah. But I play much better when I play 10, 15, 30-minute chess.
Okay. I just noticed on your medal collection that you have almost double silver medals than you have of gold or bronze. Or I guess doing gold. Who is beating you?
Well, for a long time, I would go to competitions and I would win round 1, I would win round 2, and then I'd get second in round 3. And there'd be people like Drew Brads, Andy Denny, Blake Thompson. This guy Blake would get like 5th in the first and second round and then beat me in the finals. And it was super annoying. It's just like I couldn't handle the pressure. And it took so long. I don't think I won a competition until 2017. And it took a 748 average to win a competition.
What?
Which was like 23rd in the world at the time. I guess I got a lot of second place finishes. A lot of competitions where I'd win round 1, win round 2, and then get second. I think I won 2x2 and 4x4 before I won 3x3, and I was much better at 3x3 than the other two. It wasn't that I wasn't the fastest person at the competition. I usually was, and I usually won round 1 and 2. It's just that I couldn't handle the nerves. But then as soon as I won my first competition, I think I won the competition after that and the one after that. I was talking to Drew Brads about it, and he said, yeah, once you get the first one, man, it just keeps going. You unlock that mental barrier, and then you never stop.
Oh, nice. Any idea of how much money you've won through gift cards?
So I don't use the gift cards because I'm sponsored by the Cubicle. So I have recently started collecting the gift cards because they do usually send them to me. And I think I have a couple $100 of gift cards to various stores. So I may just go buy 13 by 13 or something fun like that one day once I get enough money to one of the stores. I don't know.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, it's hard to keep track of them because some of them, they used to give them physical, but now they always send me a Facebook message like a month after the competition. Like, okay.
Oh, yeah,
I'll take it.
That would be hard to keep track of.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what's something you've changed your mind about recently?
I used to think that algs were not helpful, and I've recently realized that knowing a lot of algs is extremely useful. So I've long been a proponent. I still believe that learning algs is not the way to get faster. I think you should practice your look ahead and efficiency before you learn algs, because algs are just ways to cut a second or two off any step of your last layer, but they won't make you sub 6 or sub 7. But like, especially for Megaminx, I found that I really should know the last layer algorithms, because I'm getting to last layer at the same time people like, I'm getting to last layer very quickly, like 33, 32 sometimes. And then it's like a 41 second solve because I have to do 4 look last layer. And also for 3x3, I've noticed that the top guys use a lot of ZBLLs. Like, they know every ZBLL case for the, like, I don't know what they're called, a lot of the cross OLLs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that just helps them a lot, because they can do a lot of F2L cases where they just do a sledgehammer and then they get one of those cases and it's a 1 look last layer. Whereas I have to do 2 look last layer pretty much every solve. I sometimes get ZBLs that I know, but I feel like one of these days it would be useful to know the ZBLLs, because although algs don't make you fast, they do help you they make it possible to get more lucky. People like Blake Thompson know a lot of algs, and that's why he's able to get lucky in quotes, because he's not actually getting lucky. He just happened to get a case where he knows the alg, and that's obviously skill. But it's like Max Park and Felix would not be getting these insane averages without knowing ZBLLs. So I think if I want to get to that level at some point, I should also learn the algs.
Okay.
And I guess it's more of a result of people have been learning more algs over time. When I started, like, the best in the world didn't really know that many algs. I was like, I don't need to learn anything. I learned full PLL, like, eventually. I think I was already sub 15 when I learned full PLL. And then I learned full OLL when I was sub 10. Wow. So I've never liked learning algs, but the more algs I learn, the easier it is to learn algs. And now I can learn like 3 algs in a day if I want to, or 5 algs. I've learned like 6 or 7 algs in a day for Megaminx at some point. So it just takes discipline, but maybe someday I'll learn some algs. Who knows?
Awesome answer. Phillip, where can people find you on the internet?
Well, I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/LaZer0MonKey. You can follow me on Instagram, same thing, instagram.com/LaZer0MonKey. I just started Twitch recently, so if you want to stop by my Twitch, check it out. Yeah.
Okay, I'll have all those links in the show notes to this episode. Phillip, thanks so much for taking the time to come on the Corner Cutter podcast.
Sure, thanks for having me on.
Awesome conversation. I really enjoyed having Phillip on. If you enjoyed today's episode and you really enjoyed the Corner Cutter podcast, please leave me a rating and a review in Apple Podcasts. I really like to see all your guys' feedback, and it really encourages me to continue publishing on a consistent basis. And I have links on the Corner Cutter Podcast website, thecornercutterpodcast.com, to Apple Podcasts. Coming up in next week's episode, it's going to be a solo show reading your Apple Podcast reviews, reading your questions, playing some audio promos. This is going to be fun, and hearing your audio feedback as well. So if you have any of that to send in, please do so soon so I can play it on the next episode. I want to thank LaZer0MonKey once again for coming on the podcast, and now it's time to take this episode back to the scrambling table, and I'll talk to you guys again next week in episode 69 of the Corner Cutter Podcast. I really enjoy reading you guys' YouTube comments.